There's a spring election in Canada, and the bullshit is starting to flow. But it's not so much the politicians lying, it's the media. Here are the most egregious and entertaining examples from the week. The first story is a hilarious dumpster fire, as CTV News hired Rachel Gilmore to do fact checks for the election.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Oops! Then they fired her before I could finish editing the video. Fact check? It took 1 week, not 1 minute 37 seconds. Rachel Gilmore is the most radical, biased, and unhinged journalist that I've ever seen. She was fired from Global News in 2023 after posting bizarre personal attacks against Poilievre's wife. She was also axed from a digital advertising group in 2024. She's also known for doxing an Indigenous woman, and she frequently made false claims linking the Freedom Convoy to an arson attempt. Her reporting, which was later debunked by Ottawa police, was never retracted. And she testified at a parliamentary committee that people are right-wing grifters helping Russia if they oppose men competing in women's sports, and was sued for publishing that someone was a white supremacist when he clearly wasn't. So the fact-checking announcement set off the memers. They hired Rachel Gilmore as their fact-checker. Then this happened. Tombstone for CTV News choked on its own BS. Or this one. I was trying to think of a worse fact-checker than Rachel Gilmore. How did I do? And some were less polite. Trusting Rachel Gilmore fact-checking is like trusting Ghislaine Maxwell babysitting your kids. But seriously, she labels as misinformation any fact or idea that contradicts her extremist ideology. This article from 2020 shows Gilmore's Orwell-level doublethink. She had no idea that The Great Reset was a 280-page book by Klaus Schwab published in July 2020. Instead, she says the reset is just a document for an idea mentioned in a press release that wouldn't be hashed out until the World Economic Forum meeting to be held in May 2021. So she assumes every criticism of the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab, and the World Economic Forum is a conspiracy theory coming from the fringe. And the article is just an ignorant rant against Pierre Poilievre, who she accuses of spreading conspiracy theories about the WEF. Poilievre provides her with links showing that his information about the WEF actually comes from the WEF website. Even after including Pierre's tweet in her article, she doubles down, accusing him of using the language of the conspiracy theory, and finding others who also haven't read the book to accuse Poilievre of disinformation. The danger lies in the misinterpretation of some of these big words, and that Pierre is using the term the Great Reset as a catchphrase to instigate and scare people. She also tries to brand Erin O'Toole as a conspiracy theorist. O'Toole was Conservative leader at the time and was reacting to Justin Trudeau saying he would use the pandemic as an opportunity to advance radical economic policies.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
Trudeau's further comments about reimagining the economy to fight climate change are straight out of Schwab's book. And the Trudeau clip was actually aired by Gilmore's Global News, but she still insists on the conspiracy theory label. And CTV makes her the fact checker. The next liars are a group called Protecting Canada. Here's a clip from one of their recent commercials.
Poilievre would roll over for Trump. He'd sell off our public health care so American investors can profit. And he'd give Americans control of our natural resources.
The lie about selling off the healthcare system is a complete fabrication. They can't quote a single Conservative candidate who said anything remotely similar, so they use Rachel Gilmore as their informed source. It's not even a believable lie, since in Canada, provincial governments control healthcare, not the federal government. And the line about resources is supposed to be from the House of Commons. But every word spoken in Parliament is recorded and published. But they can't show you a single video clip or a written quotation. But it gets worse in another commercial.
Poilievre is secretly bankrolled by the owners of American private for-profit hospitals.
Oh, and it's Rachel Gilmore again. What are the odds? And this one is literally a conspiracy theory. A group of elite foreign financiers conspiring to take control of your health. Both ads included this claim that Trump endorsed Polyev. They love that guilt by association trick. What massive lies! Here's what Trump really said about Polyev.
The conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a liberal.
The Protecting Canada group claims to be running fact-based ads, which, as we've seen, is another lie. And they're proud of their other ad, known as 3.4 million FKU. They bitched that at just 31 years old, Pierre Polyev qualified for a pension, now worth 3.4 million. What they don't tell you is that he was 31 nearly 15 years ago, and he'd have to live to 90 to collect it all. And members of all parties follow the same rules. Justin Trudeau's pension is worth 8.4 million, and Jagmeet Singh's is worth 2.3 million, after only 6 years of service. Elsewhere on their website, they falsely project abortion as a conservative election issue. And it's a lie to say that conservatives are full of anti-abortion activists. The largest anti-abortion group in Canada, Campaign Life Coalition, had a survey in the last election showing that only 56 out of 333 conservative candidates were pro-life. That's 17%. But having an opinion on the subject doesn't necessarily mean you're an activist. So who funds Protecting Canada? Microsoft's Bing Chat AI says Protecting Canada is funded by progressive groups, organizations big and small, and individuals like you from across Canada. People coming together to ensure that middle-class families get their voices heard. Wow! Even robots are shoveling crap like advertising agencies. But let's move on. In my Propaganda Masterclass series, I've often said that the best propaganda is the headline, and this one is a classic. CSIS alleges India organized support for Polyev's 2022 conservative leadership bid. It's a complete lie. Read the article and you find the allegation doesn't even come from CSIS. It doesn't come from the head of CSIS or any official spokesman for CSIS. It's not quoting any report or document from CSIS. It's from an unnamed source. The next lie in the headline is India organized support, which was contradicted by the article itself. But the CSIS assessment did not indicate that this effort was done in a sweeping and highly organized way. In other words, a few random Indians may have done some minor stuff. Organized support? Nope, not organized. As further proof that this is a nothing burger, CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Polyev or members of his inner circle were aware of the alleged actions of India's agents and proxies. So despite the ominous headline which suggests a corruption scandal, the actual article reports no allegations of collusion or quid pro quo or any wrongdoing by Polyev, and not even a hint at the possibility that any Indian influenced even a single vote in Polyev's favor. The article doesn't identify who these agents are. It doesn't say they were government agents, but the liberal activists jumped on the story. Here's Riley Donovan on X, calling the story a bombshell, saying the Indian government meddled in the leadership. It's effective propaganda, because when you click the link, you connect to the Globe and Mail's paywall, so you aren't going to read beyond the headline to learn the whole story is a nothing burger. I'll give you the rest of the article if you want to freeze the video to read it. The rest of the article uses another typical propaganda technique, the non sequitur. Random topics that have nothing to do with the headline about Polyev's 2022 conservative leadership bid. There are smears against Polyev because he didn't get a security clearance. Old quotes from last year's public inquiry on foreign interference, trying to tie the conservatives to bad Indians, but barely mentioning the allegations of the Chinese Communist Party funding liberal candidates, which in reality were much more numerous and much more serious. As far as election interference goes, the best example is the Chinese putting a bounty on conservative candidate Joey Tay. The Globe and Mail only covered the story after other outlets reported that Joey Tay's liberal opponent, Paul Chang, suggested people kidnap Mr. Tay and drop him off at the Chinese consulate to collect the bounty. You can't make this stuff up. Hey, and fun fact, the Globe and Mail is a public partnership with the Century Initiative, an organization that wants to boost Canada's population to 100 million people. And it turns out that the Century Initiative is run by Mark Wiseman, one of Mark Carney's closest advisors. So the Globe and Mail has a political and financial reason to smear Poilievre. Follow the money. For more details on that, check out this video from Elevate Podcast. Link in the description. But first, let's look at this story. Here's a video from Beyond America, Canada Looking South, entitled Debunking Poilievre's WEF Conspiracy Theories. And Poilievre must have lots of them, because the video goes for more than 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Description is a big fib. Join us as we uncover how Poilievre's cult of misinformation distorts facts to attack opponents. It doesn't uncover anything. And the video doesn't mention a single Poilievre conspiracy theory. It's his supporters spreading the theories.
The Pierre Poilievre cult is hard at work creating conspiracy theories to discredit him.
There's not a single clip, tweet, or direct quotation provided for any theory or any attack on an opponent. Not a single conspiracy theorist is named or shown, and the only conspiracy theory he addresses is, we don't need no WEF. An opinion, not a conspiracy theory. But we can all agree on this.
I don't know a lot about the WEF.
What?
I don't know a lot about the WEF.
Before I talk, I should read that book.
Here's a video from 2012 of Stephen Harper speaking at the World Economic Foundation.
What?
World Economic Foundation.
Now he gets the name wrong. That's World Economic Forum, not World Economic Foundation. Embarrassing. So Nick shows about 1 minute of Stephen Harper at a WEF meeting in 2012. Harper thought WEF was good then, so WEF must be good now. Funny, since most people who would click this video hated Harper's guts. And many accused him of having a secret agenda. Another irony is that the video itself is a conspiracy theory. Based on little information,
I don't know a lot about the WEF.
he imagines a secret cabal of unnamed villains, a nefarious cult which he accuses of conspiring to spread confusion and disinformation to gain power by dishonest means. That's brilliant, since an effective propaganda technique is to accuse your opponent of the very things you're doing. It's a giant crock. In less than 4 minutes, he exemplifies most of the concepts I highlight in my propaganda masterclass series. The straw man fallacy of misrepresenting your opponent's arguments to make them easier to knock down. Demonizing people with ad hominem attacks rather than debating the issues. Stereotypes and prejudice. Judging people you don't really know. That ties in with guilt by association. Blowing things out of proportion so you can jump to conclusions. And errors of omission. And it works! Some of the viewers thank him for information, not knowing that the video actually made them dumber. He has 36,000 subs in only 4 months. Nice. I read 3 of Schwab's books before posting any WEF videos, and I'm still under 100. So please subscribe and click on my Great Reset Propaganda Masterclass compilation, a series of 8 videos covering propaganda from the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada, covering for the WEF nonsense.